Hi guys, welcome back. As you can see, I've been designing. I'm debating whether I want to put turtles in this because I want to do the octopus. But I'm not sure if I want to put the turtles in there or not. We're definitely going to do this necklace. So I am going to grab some beading wire, and I'm debating whether or not, because these are quite heavy, I think I want to use my that's satin silver. I don't want to use that one. My 0.45 wire, where is that? My 49 strand. Brilliant. We'll just use this one. It's Beadalon 49 strand, brilliant wire, 0.46 millimeter. So we're going to use this. I'm going to take a length of it just to get it started. So one of the things I did off camera was I pulled out some jump rings. So I have a bunch of bronze jump rings, and I put 2 of them on there. Just because I was afraid that one might not, because this is kind of big and heavy, I might even actually put a 3rd one on, because these jump rings are soft. Now, optionally, I could take a bit of resin or something. If you have solder, you could do it with that. If you had, colored solder, and just touch those up so that they don't come loose. But I think I'm going to go with the 3 jump rings. All right, so I am going to start threading this. I'm probably going to thread it from the center, just because I want to see how it looks as I go. So I'm going to thread the first components on, and that's going to be a green. And I'm just going to adjust the camera here so you can see what I'm doing. Green, the stony, I'm going to call it the stony color. These pretty green, apple green nuggets, a spacer bead. So I'm thinking about doing on this one a multi-stranded necklace, but actually doing it with like two completely different colors and putting it together so that it can be worn separately, can be worn together. So I've got some ideas. So we're going to do the other side. I'm going to see how that looks as it hangs, see if I want to do the turtles. I may or may not. So, but I love this. Like, I could not wait to get started. So literally I did the other thing that you're going to need to be mindful of is I've got these really big jump rings here. And as you can see, they're going over top of the beads, which is fine. But that right there tells me I'm probably going to want, either a big bead that won't go through that there, or I'm going to want more of the green beads. So what I may do is, just to make my centerpiece a little bit better, is put 3 of these green beads on and string this on, because what I'm thinking now is when it's together, these jump rings can just sit over top of, and maybe I'll only put 2 on, and then they can just sit between the beads. So I'm going to take one of these jump rings off here, because now, see, that's just giving me a design idea. So when you have a situation like this, what you can do is you can put your jump rings so that they set in the little divots between the 2 beads there, and it gives it a nice different look. So I'm going to do that, I think. So that's why I'm starting from the center, is because I want to see how this is going to come out. And so I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you before, but I've had things where I've done a design on the board and it looks great. And then as soon as I get it on the wire and I'm, stringing it up, suddenly it's like, no, it just doesn't look good. So I want to make sure that while I'm doing this, this looks good. All right, so I've got my first set of beads on, and in looking at that, oops, let me turn it around here for you. In looking at that, I like that. It's kind of a nuggety sea creature kind of thing. And again, those jump rings, which, at this point, I'm wondering if I need to do something a little different, maybe a smaller jump ring and just take off that center bead. Do I have smaller jump rings? All right, let's get I do have smaller bronze jump rings, so we can use those. Because I'm not liking that. Just because I'm not liking the way that's setting on there. I mean, now that it's between those two beads, I'm just afraid that even if it's between the two beads, I'm afraid that it's going to, because see, what I don't want to do is have that showing. Well, let's see here. Once we're nice and tight, I think we might, I don't know. Let me see what the smaller jump rings look like. So this is something that, because I'm doing this right away with you, instead of, spending the time to play with this and then, come up with a design, you get to see the choices. So sometimes your first idea works out great. Other times, not so much. So let's see what this looks like on there now. I still think I want to put 2 jump rings on that. Again, I just want to make sure it's sturdy. It's super sturdy, and it's the wire's not going to come off. Now, if I did it with the bigger jump rings and it was over the beads, I know those wouldn't come off the jump ring, but I cannot guarantee that it's not going to fall. And what I may do, just to, so I've got these little brown seed beads that I'm going to be using in some of the other designs that I'm doing. I may put a couple of these in. They look like little stones. They're ivory travertine. So I may just, and see, those won't fit through those. All right, so we're just not going to be able to do that. All right, so let me string that back up and get the first side back up, or the second side back up, and see what it looks like. Again, I may go with the bigger jump rings. I may stay with the smaller ones, depending on what it looks like when it's together. So while I'm stringing this back up, I can tell you a cute little heartwarming story. So I was on vacation, well, staycation last week from work, and was hanging out outside, and a stray cat had wandered into my yard. And of course, being a, yep, I like that. Being a, basically a sucker for animals, me and my next door neighbor were feeding it. And because I'm a member of the rabbit rescue, I was able, and I'm throwing beads again, I was able to contact, through the rabbit rescue, some other people, and we managed to get Kitty into a foster home. He was such a sweet cat too, and I felt so bad because he was just outside and he would meow at my back door and want to come in, and I felt bad. So we got him a home. He's happy. Gonna live the good life now. Did try to figure out who he belonged to, but apparently no one, and he did have a wound on him that I'm not sure I like that as a separator. All right, let me see here. So yeah, so anyways, we got him a home. One more stray kitty, because we have a problem in my neighborhood where people just seem to be dumping animals, farm area. So yeah, I don't know if I like that. I think instead of that lava bead, we're going to put one of those. I think that'll work. Yeah, so there's probably a dozen cats in my neighborhood that are feral. We tend to feed them, make sure they have food. My neighbor sometimes leaves her garage open so that they can go in the garage, get out of the rain. All right. I like that with the spacer better. I think that kind of ties it together more. I like that. All right. And yes, I know I'm not pulling from my stash here, but and then one of these. I like that so far. I do like that. We're going to do the other side now. All right. Oops, I forgot my orange. Ah. So this is going to be one of, I think, 2 strands for the necklace. I might actually even do 3, and do something with a lot of chain on the third one. Maybe do chain and just some bead dangles. I don't know. Because I want it to be, I don't want it to be all beads. I think I want some chain. I want some, oops. And see, I'm not paying attention here. I'm putting the wrong beads on. And I am going to save some of these light blue beads, if I can, for some shibori, because I think that would look, these would look great on shibori or bead embroidery for a shell, maybe a shell pendant, or brooch or something. I haven't decided yet, but I definitely want to save some of those. Or maybe I'll just have to buy some more when they get extras. Yeah, I spend way too much money on beads. Ooh, I really like that. So that's going to hang nice. So now I want to save these 2 beads here. I have these 2 left. I want to save those for a pair of earrings to go with. I like that. I definitely like that. Now we just need to figure out how to finish it off, because that is definitely not long enough. So we need to probably do some chain. So what I'm going to do is, now that that's strung, I'm actually not going to finish this because I want to get the other necklace worked on before, because it's going to be a multi-strand. So the next necklace, so we're going to pretty much design it together. I was looking at maybe doing, so what I was thinking, and again, I'll probably change my mind 600 times, is this necklace would be the bottom. This would be, you know, somewhere up closer to the neckline there, and then there would be a chain somewhere in between. So I'm thinking that I may end up doing just straight on, you know, two separate necklaces. But what I was thinking was, I like the look of this. So doing the blues and the whites there. So let me get, and we'll do a blue bead there and a blue bead there. So we'll have that there. 3 of those. Something like that. And then this as a accent on it. And then we would go and maybe we put some chain in between there. Maybe that's what we do, is we do this on a chain, put a little space, few little chain links there, and then do another set of that. Let's string this. If I'm going to do just little bits, I'm going to pull out some of my scraps. So if I do little bits of things, I have all these scraps from pulling out the long ones. So I never throw these away. They're too short for, you know, they may make a good bracelet. I've got some that are shorter. So for example, this one would, you know, I could probably get a bracelet out of it, but it's kind of short. I definitely couldn't get a full necklace. But if I'm doing something, and let me grab a bead stopper. But if I'm doing something like this, I could definitely get a short, you know, a short piece that I'm going to put around chain. I could definitely get those on this. So I want to see what this is going to look like. And we're going to have to do probably a big jump ring on this. And I am going to use the bronze. Just because if I'm going to try to do a multi-stranded necklace, I'm going to need to do the bronze. Otherwise, I would use silver. And that's going to be too big. I don't like that. Let's try a small one. So when you're sizing your jump rings for your pendants here, you have to balance the size of the jump ring with the size of the pendant. And because see, this is going to be quite tight going in there. And see, that one's not going to go in very well. It's in, but it's right up against it. So see, that one's going to be too small. And I don't think I have jump rings in between. So I don't think I have, or maybe I do. Maybe I do have an in-between size. Yeah, I do. Right, if I can get it. Right there. So yeah, one thing to always keep in your stash is different size jump rings, because you never know when you're going to need them. You can get a lot of them on Amazon that they'll have packages of jump rings where they're you get like 4 or 5 different sizes in a set. And then you can get ones with like same size, 6 different colors. Yeah, that one's going to be better. So I can still see a little gap there. There we go. That's about as good as we're going to get it. And I'm going to see if I can turn that. There we go. So that will fit on there quite nicely. Again, it's going to be a little bit big for... So for this one, I am going to put a 3rd bead and just let it sit over. Well, that's fine. It'll be tight. We won't put the 3rd bead. It'll sit nicely over that once we tighten everything up. All right. The interesting thing will be to see if I have crimp beads and clamshells for, or actually just clamshells, because I can use any color crimp bead in a clamshell. So I like this. And maybe we do that with some chain or just, yep, I like that. I think that works. I honestly want to do this in silver, but because we're working with the gold or this, it can look like, that can look like, ooh, anchor chain. I think this one's going to be the chain one to companion to that. And if that's the case, maybe what we do is we put, nope, I don't want that on there. One of these maybe. Nope. All right, we're gonna pinch this off. I am going to grab some crimp covers and I don't have bronze crimp covers, or crimp beads, but I do have gunmetal, so we can use the gunmetal. Like I said, when you're doing this, if you're using one of these clamshells, you're never going to see the crimp bead. I will need some E6000. And I don't know where my open tube is, so I'll just grab a new one. I go through these a lot, so I'll use it up. Not a big deal. All right, so we're going to do the first side. First side's always easy. We're going to put a crimp clamshell on, and then I'm just going to grab a crimp bead here. I'm really liking this month's. Are those the smallest ones I have of those? They are. I'm not sure if those are going to work because those are really kind of big. Well, I guess those will do because that's all I have for. All right, we'll make them work. We'll make it work. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to crimp, and I'm just going to do a flat crimp here, close to the end. And then just give it a little tug, make sure it's not going to come apart. Woo, that came out. I don't need all of that glue. It's the one thing about new, ooh, and I'm getting glue on things. Crap. We're going to have to clean that before that sets. I'm going to close that. And I'm going to use something here to wipe the glue off of this. That's the beauty of E6000. It's not like super glue where it instantly sets and then you're stuck. Oh, that crimp cover's messed up. Crap. So now I don't know if you can see that or not, and that's got the end on it. So this loop on the crimp cover is not, I don't know if you can see that real well. It's missing part of its, and I didn't notice that when I put it on, so it was a defective one. You'll get that occasionally. See, that one's the same way. That one's fine. All right, so I have a couple defective ones. We're just going to chuck those. Oops. Yeah, it's always good to check before you, and I made that mistake of not checking. Before you do anything and you make it permanent with glue or you do anything, make sure everything that you're using is definitely working. Lobster claws, lever backs, anything that you're going to be using that could have a defect, just double check because, no matter what happens, there's manufacturing defects, like one every, 1,000 pieces, and you might just be the unlucky person that gets that one in 1,000 or two in 1,000. All right, and that's all pinched. I'm going to just give that a nice squeeze. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then we're going to do this other side. And I'm going to need another crimp cover. There's another defective one. I may have gotten a really bad batch of these. That one's good. And you'll have that. And I don't use the antique bronze all that much because it's not my favorite. So it's probably why I didn't notice. Otherwise, I would have sent them back. Okay, we're going to pinch that. Check for pulling. That's fine. It doesn't pull. I'm going to snip. And then I'm going to glue. Oops, air bubble. Okay. And then I'm just going to give that a little squeeze. Make sure it's nice and... All right. So now this is the first piece, or the first part of that necklace. Now we need to decide whether or not we're going to do just chain the rest of the way, or if I'm going to... I think what I want to do is grab... And I don't have any eye pins, so I don't want to use the head pins that they gave us. So what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to do this part with the chain. I want to do some more beading, but maybe we just do it on little strands of wire and then put them together with chain. So this one's going to be something a little different. Normally I would just do a small thing with like a head pin or an eye pin, but I don't have I don't have eye pins for, I don't have eye pins in the bronze, so I think we're going to do chain, or we're going to do wire. So what I think I want to do is I'm going to do I think we're going to do this, that, and that. See, I like that as a in-between, and then we'll do another set of those. But I want them separated by a little bit of chain. So this is going to be a lot of crimping. This one's going to be a lot of crimping, which means there's going to be a lot of failure points. Or do I want to do that? Now I'm thinking, guys, maybe I want to do... See, and I don't have any real good bronze spacer beads. All right, guys, so we're going to decide here, and I know this video is probably getting kind of long. I'm going to see what this would look like if I did a long one. Do I have one that's long enough for a necklace? Maybe. Yep, that one's long enough for a necklace. All right. Let's see here. Decisions, guys. This is what happens with designing. Sometimes you get an idea and then you may not have the findings, or something just may not work the way you're hoping for, and so then you have to come up with a different idea. So I'm going to try putting one of those on. Do I like that? Well, let's see. Well, let's see what that looks like. And then doing blue, white, blue, and then 3 of these. Two blues. I mean, I did kind of want some chain, but in there. And see, I'm still wanting chain. So I may sacrifice a couple of head pins. Finding the ones that have the smallest heads, because like this one's not the greatest. We'll just sacrifice a couple of those, I think, and make them, because I don't like that. I do like this idea. I like my original idea. So we're going to make a loop on this one. So I'm going to take my loopers and literally just make a loop or start a loop, and then use my round nose pliers and just continually, slowly manipulate it until I have a nice, perfect round loop. Just like that. Hi, bunny. And I have a bunny at my leg again. Hi, baby. Yep. All right. And then I'm going to loop the other side. And I actually may be able to, because these are small enough, I may be able to loop. And see, that one came out a little bit easier than the other one. I may be able to do it on just one head pin, because those were quite long head pins. So I will sacrifice, you know, findings to make a different finding if I need it. I don't know if this is going to be long enough. We'll try it. If not, we'll try something else. But I think I might just be able to get away with that. And yes. See, so that was the thing. I only had to sacrifice the one. And I just need to twist these because I want them going in the same direction. And then we can make sure these are closed nice and tight. And so, all right, so that works for that. And then we are going to need to make another semi-long one. So yes, we are going to have to do some more crimping for this, but I won't need the long one. We'll just use a short piece. Oops, and I'm throwing jump rings everywhere. So we're going to use a short piece here. I'm going to pick up a blue, a white, a blue, 3 of the ghost blues. I'm going to call these ghost blues. I don't know what color this is, but it's ghost blue to me. And then that, a white, and another. And see, that's long enough that I don't think I could do that on I probably could do that on one of those, but I want this to be floppy. So this is definitely going to get a crimp and not a head pin. Got some nice glue on there. And then we're going to get, this one done. I need another. And again, I'm going to double check to make sure they're good. That one's good. All right, and we're going to put that, a crimp bead, we're going to cut. And put some glue. So, reason why I was thinking I didn't want to do these with doing this is because that's an awful lot of things to be, you know, failure points, and I figured at least with this, I mean, it's a potential failure point if the chain comes off of these loops here, but at least with that, it's not necessarily going to be a wire that breaks. Now I need to make one more of these, and then we're going to put it all together. So I'm going to pause you while I put this other one together, and I will be right back. Okay, guys, so I finished putting those together. I also took the liberty while I was off camera to cut my pieces of chain. So I cut them 7 links long. And so we're going to actually put this part together now. I am going to use some small jump rings. So I do have some small bronze jump rings here. And we're going to use those. I'm going to get a few out here if I can get them out. They don't like to come out of the package, or they like to fall all over the place. And so we're just going to open up the jump ring, put on a piece of chain. I'm going to start with the first side. I'm going to do the one side, and then we'll do the other side, because then this is going to have chain as the finish. So there is the first one. And then we're going to take another jump ring, and I'm going to pick up my that is, if I can get it in. And we're going to close that up. And then we're going to do the next side with another piece of chain. Close that up. And then lastly, we're going to take a third jump ring, and we're going to go and do our last link here. And close that up. So that's what it's going to look like. That's going to look really cool on, this may be the bottom. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do this just as a separate necklace. I haven't decided. Still haven't decided. All right, so now we're going to get the other side done. And so connecting these are going to be, it's going to be tough, especially with this little itty bitty bit of chain. So if you try to make something similar, I'll warn you, trying to hold on to that little amount of chain can be a pain. But the ultimate design in the end is going to look really cool. I am just going to tighten up that, because that's not super tight. I don't want my eyes opening up on my eye pins. And so by doing this and adding the chain and adding these green beads to this pendant, I've now made it so that it can be incorporated with the green necklace that we're going to finish off, and allow it to be together as two necklaces. I think I'm going to do the 2 necklaces, and then I'm going to end the video. I may add a third chain If I do, I will definitely show that to you when we get to the showcase for this month, but I don't want this video to I know it's getting too long. That's because we're doing many, many, many things all at once, and you get to design with me. So, all right, so there we go. Now I'm going to hold this up to myself and see. Yeah, that's perfect for a for the top necklace. So that's going to work out beautifully. And I'm going to add a chain here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the whole chain. And this is a little trick that I've learned to do just to make doing chains easier, because most people measure the chain, cut it, measure the chain, measure, 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 and then cut and put on your clasps. But if you take your whole chain and you put one end on one side, one end on the other, figure out where on your neck you want it to be. So you figure out what length you want, and then you just cut right through. Then you literally have your necklace, and you don't have to worry about and I'm thinking I pinched off when I was doing that just about the right length there. So I'm going to get these even. I'm going to hold it up, figure out where I want it to hang, and then make sure that when I cut that they are exactly even. So I'm getting the even amount of chain, and I want to cut right about there, I think. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to measure twice. So there's my chains side by side, and I wanted about that much, and I'm going to cut there. Ooh, and there, that guy liked to fly. And then I'm going to grab, if I can find them, and I had them out just a little while ago. I had, oh, there they go. My magnetic clasps. So we're going to just put, and this is of course going to stick to everything. Little jump rings. Where'd my little jump rings go? There they go. Well, I wish you guys could see my workbench right now. I cleaned up this past weekend, and now that I've broken out 2 bead boxes and jump rings, my workstation is now a disaster again. I do clean up in between projects just so it makes it easier, but yeah, we're breaking everything out for this. All right, and so we're just going to crimp or close that. And there we go. So there's the first part. So that's the upper necklace that's going to sit, well, it sits a little lower but than I'd like. But I think I'm wondering if this needs to be its own necklace or if I need to shorten this one up. Yeah, we're going to shorten. So, beauty of chain as a finishing, just because now that I'm wearing it, I do need to take off a little bit of chain. So what I'm just going to do here is I am going to cut down roughly in half because I want it up close to the neck. So I'm just going to cut, woo, and they flew. And then I'll use these little chains for something else. I got a bunny under the feet again. Did I just hit you with those? Oh, that was just the wire. Okay. Ah! That's what happens with magnetic clasps and metal that is magnetic. It will stick to everything. So just be sure when you're working with it that you realize that. Would you stop? So, I dropped my, my Beadle-On spool on the floor, and it's sitting down underneath my foot right now because Bunny thinks it's a toy. That's just too funny. I wish I could show you that. All right, that's still a little long, but that's actually perfectly where I want it to sit. This one is going to go down below it, and I need to. So I'm going to take my wire and figure out about how much more. So I need about that much more on it to make it that length. So I don't know if I want to do chain or if I want to do more beads. I'm thinking maybe just because we have some of those lava beads in this one, these dark lava beads, I may do one of these on each side and then like 5 or 10 lava beads on each side and then see where that sits. Because again, this one is going to be the longer one, so this one has to be this one's going to get the lobster claws on both ends so that we can detach it from its from the other necklace. So you can wear the blue necklace, or you can wear the green necklace, or you could wear both of them together. Oops, I already put one of those on. And we're going to use some chain. I think we're going to use some chain on this as well, just because I think that way it'll tie in a little bit better. And I don't want to use all of the lava beads for that. We still need to make the bracelet portion. So we need to go quite a bit more. I'm thinking maybe we'll do 7, 8 lava beads. I don't know. Let's see. That's 6, 7. We'll do 10. 8. 9. 10. And then 10 on this side. And I may transfer 1, 2, 3. Give me a second, guys. I'll finish my thought in a second. 4, 5. I was thinking about transferring the clasp to this one, but this is going to be heavy. I don't think I want this to be Well, it's not that heavy. And then we will do a little piece of wire on this one, and then we'll attach it. All right, so we need to do a we'll add some chain to it as well. So we'll get this finished off. And I really need to moisturize my hands. I was out gardening this weekend. And ended up with some really dry skin from digging in the dirt. Although my raspberries have come in nicely, and my strawberries, I've gotten, I don't know, 4 pints of strawberries and 2 pints of raspberries. So, my garden's doing pretty good. I might have to take you guys on a garden tour one of these days and show you my backyard. I have a really small backyard, so it's not huge. But I have a little waterfall in it. Birds like to bird bath in it. I have a bird bath they never use, but and then I have, some weeds growing in my garden that I still need to finish getting. I have a vegetable garden that I'm growing tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, lettuce, beans, peas, you name it, it's in there. 1 year during COVID, I actually grew pumpkins. So we're going to need quite a bit of chain on that. So, so I grew pumpkins, and I have this trellis, and I was trying to grow the pumpkins up along, like the vines up along the trellis, and I managed to have a pumpkin grow on the top. And I was like, dear God, how am I going to get the pumpkin down? So I managed to cut the pumpkin, and then I had my next door neighbor come, and I was like, I'm going to roll the pumpkin off the top of the trellis. You catch it when it falls. So that was interesting. So I feed my neighbors. Everybody in the neighborhood gets vegetables when I grow them. I have a 97-year-old neighbor. She loves gardening, but she really shouldn't be doing it anymore at 97. So I always because she likes to have fresh vegetables. So I end up giving her vegetables out of my garden. And I know she really enjoys that. All right, so now we're going to measure this, and I've got that measured roughly. So I need to cut it right about there. So right at my fingers. And we're going to cut. So I basically did the same thing as I did before. I put the whole chain on. And now I'm just cutting off where I think I need it. And this one's going to be long. And I'm going to grab 2 lobster claws if I have them in. I do. And we are going to grab some more jump rings. I'm using the small jump rings just because I like these. That one, yeah, they're the same. They just, There's one. And I need another little jump ring. And again, I'm using my fingers, probably should be using tools. If you want to spare your hands and your fingernails, use your tools. If you don't care about your nails and and everything, then great. But all right, so now we're going to attach these two, and I am going to. Oh, he's working. All right. No, not the chain. There's that attached there. And see, that's the thing. I got to make sure I'm getting the right side. Yep, I'm getting the right side. So there's that there. And so that is going to be a very long necklace. I may cut this down a little bit. Just because, I mean, I need it to be that long, but well, nope, that'll be fine. All right, so that's perfect. Oopsie. So there is two, and I know they don't look like they go together, but I really think they do. And I will show them to you. Let me move the tray here just a minute and set it out so that it's going to lay out quite nicely here. So I'm just trying to get it. There we go. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So it's going to lay quite nicely like that. Like I said, it's good. This one's going to be a long one. I want this to kind of drape down, to hang off. I was thinking about maybe shortening it up just a little bit so that it's like right there. I may do that off camera because we still need to do a bracelet for this. But I'm thinking maybe a few chains off and then we should be good to go. But it's going to hang quite nicely. It looks good on the neck. I like the two colors together. The blue and the green with, I mean, the accents just kind of pick up on it. Anyways, so there's the multi-strander. I'm going to continue to play with this a little bit. I'm going to make the bracelet and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.